Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anna of Reinforce Me Club. Today, we are going to talk about being an only child. So, if you are an only child, or if you happen to know someone who is an only child and you love their unique attributes, so this one's for you. Look, being an only child have advantages and disadvantages. Speaking about the advantages, by the way, I'm also an only child. So, the first thing that I have found out at an early age is that there is no sibling rivalry, sorry. I am not being compared to anybody at home. Basically, have no brothers and sisters. So there's no regulation in how to treat your big brother or big sister or little sister. You're just being yourself. Be yourself is the motto at home. Another thing about being an only child, a good thing, is that you have your own privacy. Your parents can afford to give you your own room, your own playroom at the same time. So I have my own, yeah, I've got my own room, my own playroom until such time when I got older, I have my own office. I can turn that office into a music room or whatever one. I got my own space, which happens to be the thing that I love most, even up to this stage that I'm older now. Another perk of being an only child is that you got all the attention from your parents. They have you're gonna have more time, bonding time with your parents, and you are privileged to be included in some parental activities. It's just, you have no competition to that. The only, by the way, talking about competition, the only competition that you have as an only child from your parents is that their work. It's either you or their work. And the thing about it is that in family conversations with your relatives and holidays, when you are young, it tends to be you. You are the center of it. And since you are the center of it, you are pressured to be a good girl or good boy sometimes only. And as an only child, another the good thing is that you're going to be Mr. or Miss Independent. It actually, it actually depends on what age you're going to realize this fact, because as an only child, no one is coming for you. Even though you hang out with your cousins, it's not all the time. They're not around. It's just you and yourself. You are your own hero. You get your act together. You got your own back, and you tend to be autonomous with making decisions and mistakes. And you face all the consequences of your actions alone, just like everybody else. You can't you can't call your big brother to help you out, your sister. Well, there are some lucky only child who happen to have best friends. So congrats. I had a best friend before. Yeah, I sleep over there. She's just one of my neighbors. So we talk about feelings in life, etc., whereabouts. But even though we are best friends, it's not all the time that she is there for me. Always remember that. As an only child, you got to save yourself. You learn from, you learn from your own experience as you go along. And it's not a sad thing though. It makes you a little bit mature over time. in making decisions. And another perk of being an only child is that you have the so-called financial advantage. In the part of your parents, it's much cheaper to have one child. They can save up for your schooling, so they can send you to a prominent school, and in your in your high school level, and even in your college, they can help you out with that financially. And if you ever have an inheritance, and if your parents will let you have all that they work for, you have no competition again. You got the inheritance if they let you have it. Another thing, which is considerably a good thing about being an only child, is that they are self entertaining other than being independent because no one's around, no one to play with. So they just do their thing. They play with themselves. They have an imaginary friend. They learn stuff so that they won't get bored. That is why when you have one child only, that child in some point will look for a baby brother or baby sister. That is the reason because they have no playmates. On the other hand, there are also a couple of disadvantages being an only child. Number one is that they tend to be lonely when they're young. So they've no playmates again, no one to talk with their feelings in life and what's going on in school, especially when mom and dad are busy with work and their attention is kind of divided with work and their child. So in some point you're gonna feel lonely, just like everybody else. Another thing, another setback being an only child is that you're gonna feel pressured. Since you are the center of attention of the family, your parents expect you to perform well in school and other activities. But it depends on the parents. Some only child are raised by a single parent, single mom or single dad. And I am raised by dad, and he doesn't really care about the, you know, high grades, good performance at school. As long as I'm happy and I have a passing grade, I'm happy and healthy. That's it. He's not looking for anything else. He's happy with that. But to other parents, they want their children to excel and beat the other students in school. So it all depends on the criterias and standards of mom and dad, or either mom or dad. Another setback of being an only child is that your parents tend to be overprotective. But again, it depends on your parents. If they're kind of, authoritative and permissive, or totally protective. It's up to your parents. And, as kids, we can always deal with that. We get used to it and we can always find a way. Another setback of being an only child is that it's kind of hard to make friends with people who are outside the family or school. For me, it's easier to make friends in school or if I have other activities like martial art class or dancing class, it's easier to make friends there. But outside of those, of that circle, it's kind of I'm kind of hesitant to trust those people, just like everybody else. And since only child tend to be, more like alone most of the time, so that's the thing. They find it hard to interact with people who seem to be feels of a stranger. Another setback of being an only child is that they are the only sole caregivers of their elderly parents. So let's get ready for this. They are the main providers, carers of the parents when 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 they reach to the point that they're getting older. So they are entitled to take care of them. Well, for me, as an only child, I don't really mind. I'm ready for that, and I've thought about this, and I've even spoke to dad about this, and we got plans. My dad actually lives in a place with his siblings, so they're kind of neighbors, not too far away. Although they got me covered in some, aspects in life, dad can always go to them, ask help, or eat dinner with them. I always want to be with dad as much as I can. In any phases of life he's in, I want to be with dad. I don't want to leave him. He's the best person I ever have. And lastly, some some only child people tend to be unambitious because when they were young, or even they're getting old, they have no competition. Nobody competes with them in the family. Why should they bother? But to be honest, based on experience, I got two only child friends. They are not unambitious. Both of them, they graduated college. The other one is pursuing specialization. The other one is saving to buy a house. And she already improved their old house, where her parents live. Now she's taking charge of her own accommodation for a lifetime. And they don't have lack of motivation. They decide on their own. They are autonomous, they're independent, and they have secure jobs. According to them, secure jobs. And talking about the so-called only child syndrome, which happens to be an idea way back 1800s of a child psychologist named E.W. Bohannon. So what happened was he wants to explore the traits of children without siblings. So he gave out questionnaires to over 200 people. And what he found out from his research from those questionnaires, respondents tend to have stereotypes again for children without any siblings. These stereotypes include overindulge, spoiled, selfish, lack of social skills, overly sensitive, and narcissists. But you know, after that event, there are a couple of research which follow that, and they have found out that although these impressions or stereotypes are existing up to this point, there is no clear evidence that it is true. That research way back 1800 is inaccurate. In other words, this so called only child syndrome is a myth. So that's it for today, guys. This is Anne of Reinforce Me Club. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely day ahead.